All right, Coach, you guys competed well this past weekend. We're going 2-1. Just how do you feel the way that your team competed overall and didn't the Lone Star crossover?
Well, I feel like that, there were 3 5-set matches, actually, us and Kingsville and Fort Smith and us, and we each went 1-1 in those, so I felt like we competed at a pretty high level. I felt like the match against Fort Smith was probably one of the highest level volleyball matches we played all year on both sides, like them playing, us playing. It was back and forth. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And most of our matches against Fort Smith are like that. Almost every time we played over the years, it's been a 5-set match except for one time. So I feel good about the level we finished at. We had an opportunity against Kingsville as well. So I feel like we're playing at a pretty high level heading into conference this week.
Right now, you guys are currently 10-2. What do you credit the most to your early season success so far this entire season?
That's a good question. I don't know. We play hard, and we've changed some things that what we do, and I think most importantly, we walk into a match and we expect to win. I don't know that we've come into any matches this year not expecting to win. So I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. You got to be confident in what you're doing. We work hard in practice. We work hard to address the things that we want to get better at, and so the things that bothered us the first weekend didn't bother us the second. The things that bothered us the second weekend didn't bother us the third. So we're growing and we're learning, and I think that's just part of the process.
Coach, just talk about the resiliency of your team, like to take certain matches, 5 sets, and you did it more than once, when you either get behind or it's one of those where you're just trading games back and forth, like what's the message to those girls saying, hey, we're almost there, just take that last step to get over that 5th set?
No, I think one of the biggest differences between our sport and a lot of other sports is there's no clock. Every point is its own thing, and the one before has nothing to do with the one next. And now there is momentum and stuff like that you feel when you're playing and you're competing when things are going well or things are not going well, but there's no time pressure that you feel like in other sports. Basketball, the clock is winding down, you got to make a shot, you got to get a stop. Well, we have to do those things too, but there's no time pressure. So we can compartmentalize it a little bit, and move forward point by point. And something we talk about in practice, something we talk about in the huddle all the time is we're trying to win every point. It's never going to happen, but our goal is to win every point. Just like every play is designed to score a touchdown. You want to score a touchdown every time you hand the ball off or throw it or whatever. We want to win every point, and so we're striving for that all the time. And so I think that resiliency comes from the fact that we can compartmentalize a little bit and next point mentality, next ball mentality, because if you linger on what just happened, you're not going to be very prepared for the next point. So I think we've done a really good job of that so far this year.
As conference play approaches, especially after what happened last weekend, obviously some of those games didn't count for conference, but right. How confident are you going in headed to conference here pretty soon?
Yeah, so we look at our season in terms of 3 parts. Our preseason segment, all these non-conference games, even though they're conference opponents, they count towards regional rankings, so they're all critical. Even though they're familiar opponents, they're very important to our postseason opportunities. And now we're into phase 2, which is conference play. You win the conference, you get to host. You win the conference tournament, you get an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. So. We're heading into it feeling good about the way we play, but I wouldn't say that we're overconfident about it. I mean, we've got to go out and do the work, and get the wins that are important to us, And so we're going to go match at a time. It's very cliche, I understand that, but you only get to play one at a time. You only get to play 1 point at a time. So there's no 3-point play in volleyball. So we're going to go after it and compete for every point and see where it takes us.
And these ladies have been playing at a high level. What is it going to take to take that next step to get to that elite level where you don't have to worry about this?
That's a good question. I think that, we got to continue to work on the things that are spots for us, trouble spots, and it's not any particular area. It's just we got to get a little bit better in a few areas. Every day in practice, we got to get a little bit better at this, or a little bit better at that, and the cumulative effect of that means our level of play rises. Our volleyball IQ rises. I'm playing more freshman and sophomore than I am junior and senior right now. So we've got a lot to learn. You know, every day is a learning process for these kids, and they've been great about wanting to learn and soak it up. But there's just so much to soak up. You know, sometimes we just can't get enough in before the next competition, but we're sure trying.
Coach, you brought in a lot of, you returned a lot from last year, but you also brought in a lot of new faces. Do you feel that the new faces have kind of elevated the returners from last year's team?
I don't know if elevated is the right way to describe it, but I think the chemistry between those kids has been exceptional. You know, definitely an improvement over where we were last year. And we had a good group last year, you know, that they got along great. But just that exuberance, that excitement, that want to, I think is at a higher level this year than it was last year, you know, and it's nice that the new kids that have come in have been just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and they make mistakes, but they try not to make the same mistake, you know, and so that's exciting for our team and our returners. They, you know, we're not perfect. They make mistakes too, but they see the reaction of these young kids, and it brings them a little more, I don't know, I think they feel better about the learning process now because everybody's got to learn so much.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.